Hey everyone, this week we'll be making some tori python soup with leftover bones. I've been wanting to do this for a while now because I had these leftover bones from last time I made the chintan stock, and my mom was nagging me all day to use them up already, so here it is. We'll also be using this soup to make a delicious bowl of miso tori python ramen as promised from last week, so stay tuned. So apparently a lot of my viewers still aren't subscribed to me, so if you've been enjoying my cooking content, please leave a like and subscribe. It only takes a second and it helps. So here's my bag of leftover bones I had from the last time I made my chintan soup. I read that you can reuse them for a python soup, albeit it will not be as strong considering you already extracted a lot of flavor from the first use. We're going to fill up this big pot with water and make sure to cover all the bones with it. Some people are probably wondering, why would you reuse leftover bones? And I mean, it was already available to me and I wanted to give it a shot. So I say, why not? Once pretty much most of the bones is covered with water, we're going to put a lid on it and bring it up to a boil. When the pot is starting to heat up, you can see some scum here and there, and if it's white scum, don't worry about it and just keep heating it up until it starts boiling. This is pretty much what you want to be seeing, and now we're going to take our wooden spoon or sturdy tool of choice and start mashing the bones on the bottom. So the difference between the python and the chintan soup is that the python soup is not clear. It emulsifies the fat and gelatin from the bones, which creates this nice, creamy, smooth texture. It's quite similar to tonkotsu, except it's made with chicken bones, which takes a lot less time. So normally, if we use fresh bones, we would boil this for a minimum of 5 to 6 hours. Since these are leftover bones, it actually requires less time. I only boiled this for around 3.5 hours while smashing the bones occasionally with my spoon, and it probably could have been a lot less time. This is just from 30 minutes of boiling, and you can already see it's starting to turn opaque and white. Normally, this would take a lot longer, but since these are leftover bones, this apparently becomes quicker. Fast forward 2 hours later, and you can see how a lot of the water has evaporated, and the consistency of the soup getting thicker. Since I want to do 3 hours of boiling before I add in my aromatics, I refill the pot with some boiling water to make sure nothing gets scorched. In my opinion, python is a lot easier than the chintan because you don't really have to watch it that often compared to chintan. That's because you never want the pot to be boiling with a chintan. After the pot has been boiling away for 3 hours, we will now add in our aromatics. I added a whole onion cut in half, 2 carrots cut into pieces, and some scallions. We'll boil this for another 30 minutes before straining. It's time to finally strain our broth that's been boiling away for a while now. I have a fine mesh sieve here, and all you gotta do is slowly scoop out the soup. Don't worry about the chicken bits and the meats all getting caught in the sieve, that's what it's for. Later on, we're gonna start squeezing it through the sieve to make sure we get out as much liquid as we can from it. After straining the soup, you can marvel at it for a bit. I couldn't believe these are leftover bones and it produced such a nice looking soup. Alright, finally we got one final thing to do, and that's to use a stick blender to make sure everything is emulsified. Start blending this and go around in a circle, I guess, and make sure everything is nice and frothy by the time you're finished. It should look something like this. We'll be using this to make our ramen. The next day, this is the soup. As you can see, a bit of the fat separated, but no worries, we'll be able to emulsify it back later with the stick blender. But would you look at that gelatin? Can't believe there's this much left over from the bones. My friend thought I was scooping tofu at first too. So here I'm making a single serving of miso tori python ramen. I got my soup simmering, and I will use a stick blender to make sure the fat is blended back in. I will proceed to use a sieve with 2 tablespoons of my miso tori from last week and start mixing it into the soup. The sieve will prevent clumps and makes it easier to incorporate into the soup. Here's my ramen bowl with a tablespoon of aroma oil and my soup from before. You can see how the miso makes the soup a bit more thick. I'm going to add in my homemade nudes, then do the fancy noodle fold. Top it off with some pork chashu, an ajitama, scallion, some memma that I'll actually make a video on soon, and fried shallots. Here's the bowl from before. I forgot to actually add a nori sheet, but dang, I ain't going front. This looks like something a ramen shop would serve to you. This is the bowl I served to my friend, and he approved of it. Definitely makes all this effort worth it, so I hope you give it a shot. Hey everyone, thanks for watching my video, and if you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe and follow my Instagram at Weekend Cooks. Thanks for the support, everyone.